What's that?
Good morning. Welcome to Open Gates, where we talk about everything life. And Lupe has unlocked the door.
Good morning.
Good morning. Woo-wee, y'all.
My baby is so amazing.
I'm a little bit tired today. But we're going to smile and make it a great day, right? Amen?
Smile. Yes, we are. She sacrifices. Comes and helps me with my other jobs, and man, it's amazing. Did you have something you wanted to speak on?
What you got for us?
Okay. Today, guys, I was reading something this morning. It's not from the Shabbat, it's a writing. And I was reading this writing, but then I started to dig into some meanings of a word. And it can seem like it's contradicting each other. And so, as valuable as this reading is, along with the meanings, I think a more important thing to understand here for what this short live is going to be about is why it's necessary for us as individuals to dig into something that we want to understand. Okay? To not just take it from what somebody else says. Don't just take it for what Chad says or Tanya says or anybody else for that matter. It's like, I can't remember how it goes, but the gentleman once told me on a job site that you can have knowledge of many things, but if you never take that knowledge and put it in your tool belt and learn how to use it, you'll never be productive on the job.
That's good.
And that was a good way to put it.
Yes.
That was a great way to put it. So you can have a knowledge of all kinds of things, right? Knowledge of, right? Going back to the tree. But if you never actually get to know it within you, then what's it worth to you? You know? What's it worth to you? Think about that.
What does the Bible say? Wisdom is more precious than rubies and gold.
And that's where the wisdom part comes in. Keeping it in your tool belt. Learning what it is for you. And it's going to be different for each individual. I don't think that we stress that enough. I don't think we're taught that. But as individuals, we need to take hold of the luxury that we are capable of going and digging for ourselves. Instead of being the robots. Instead of being the puppets. Instead of jumping on the bandwagons. We got to know that deep down inside, it's okay to be different, to ask questions, and to have a different perspective. It's okay to do that. We don't have to trickle along one behind the other and say, uh-oh, that's all that life has to give me. I mean, you know what I mean? And so I'm going to read this reading, and then I'm going to give you an example of what I was talking about leading up to this reading. and the whole purpose of this is just for you to go and dig into something. This reading you might see it one way, other than the way we explain it. I'm going to give you some definitions here, and take those definitions and write them down, and then run with what we're talking about, but run with it with the shoes that fit your feet. How about that? Amen. Okay, so it says, you might remember the story at the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot's wife looked back and was turned into a pillar of salt. Salt is the world's best preservative. This analogy shows us that we risk preserving our trauma when we continually look back. In large part, the main thing that holds pain and trauma in place and even reoccurring is memory. Memory preserves trauma. To a great extent, trauma needs to be processed in a healthy manner. Because we are focusing mechanisms, Many of us are attracted to our trauma like rubbernecking at an accident. We have to see pain in order to help process ours. But there comes a time when we need to redirect our focus, our focusing mechanism. Otherwise, it will continue reliving the trauma of the past because our central nervous system does not know the difference between an event actually happening and the memory of a painful event. It solicits the same chemicals, the tears, and the body memories. When we continually look back, our remembering trauma acts as a preservative, keeping the wound open and fresh. In order for us and even our world to heal, after a time of healing, we must redirect our focus when we remember trauma. Otherwise, we will create more of what we focus upon. And ultimately, we sentence ourselves to suffering the same fate over and over again. We need to intervene and to take control of this focusing mechanism and redirect it to look at the things that we want to experience, not on what we don't. Otherwise, we get stuck and it becomes nearly impossible to move on. You might remember the story at the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, where Lot's wife looked back and was turned into a pillar of salt. Salt is the world's best preservative. This analogy shows us that we risk preserving our trauma when we continually look back. Remember, the wife, metaphorically, is not a woman, but rather the feminine energy within that bears the energetic capability of the womb of creation. What are you creating?
That's good.
It's pretty powerful there because we talk about allegorically, metaphorically, and symbolically all the time. When we look at Lot, we think, when we look at Lot's wife, we think, oh my gosh, the woman looking back, and you can go wherever you want to take that. But I'm glad it made us take note of metaphorically, that it represents something other than just a person literally. And I think a lot of times when we do readings, we need to get into that. We need to look at it metaphorically, symbolically, allegorically, and ask ourselves, what's here? What's a little deeper than beyond the surface?
And how does this apply to me?
Exactly. That's the most important thing for me anyway. Maybe not for you, but for me. How do I apply this to me? What is it speaking to me? How can I better understand this for me?
God, what are you saying to me?
Right. And so, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, what I'm about to give you might sound contradicting. That's why it's important for you to go study yourself. Study to show yourself approved, right? So, I did a little spelling check and a little word check. We call it word study. And I was thinking, memory. Memory. Because a lot of us, if not all of us, all throughout our day, there's something that comes through this mind. Something in the form of a memory. All through our thought process, we have a memory of something. We could be driving by somewhere, boom, it triggers a memory. Somebody could say something, boom, it triggers a memory. You could do something and you'd be like, oh man, I remember when I done that before. And it could be a plethora of different things. It doesn't have to be just negative stuff or hurtful stuff. It could be positive stuff, joyful stuff. But it still is triggered from a memory. So I thought, man, well, what am I choosing to remember? Well, I'll tell you, a lot of times how I was taught before was I was taught, remember what Jesus did for you? And when I was taught that, I thought, man, if I remember what he did for me, then why can't I remember what I've been through before? And it's so simple that we miss it. Well, if I'm remembering that, then I'm triggering myself to remember other things. And now what I have to do, which it's not easy to do, is I'm trying to counterbalance all the bad things that I'm remembering I did, trying to make up for it. Don't run well like that. Don't run well at all. Because now I'm into a works process, right? That's just a little bit about my testimony to see if you can be relatable to that. Here's what I am going to share with you. The Hebrew meaning for Well, the translation, it's called Zarak. Zarak is a Hebrew word for remembering. And they'll tell you it's an important one. Now, don't forget that Hebrew word. Now, I don't have the likes of Dale Allen or Carrie. I have to do my own study on here because I don't know it offhand. But they might be able to help you. So go and check it out and go dig for yourself. How about that? That's the best way to do it. But when I started thinking about Zarak or Zerakai or whatever like that, right? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. What you get into is two names, Zechariah and Zacharias. Now those two names are in the Bible.
Zacharias, yeah.
Zechariah, okay, Zacharias and Zechariah. Now those names are in the Bible. What do those names mean when you read them in the Bible?
I never thought about it.
A lot of us haven't thought about it. But check it out. It says Zechariah with many variant forms and spellings, such as Zechariah, Zacharias, is a theophoric masculine given name of Hebrew origin. It means God remembers. Wow. Think about that for a second. God remembers. You know, I'm going with this. God remembers. Well, it just said in this reading, Lot's wife turned to look back and she was trying to remember something, have a memory of something. What happened? She turned into a pillar of salt. Listen, it says it comes from the Hebrew word zakar, meaning to remember, and Yah, one of the names of God of Israel. Guys, my point to all this is right here. When we think something goes wrong, we have a memory of something. It triggers us to a past trauma. And we begin to blame things outside of ourselves. Mm-hmm. Go back to zakar, the Hebrew word. And translated, it says, God remembers. So if you're remembering, but yet God remembers, I don't want to spoon feed you here.
Maybe you're going to have to help us out here.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there because I'm not going to help you out. I'm not going to spoon feed you. You need to go and dig in for yourself. Listen, a lot of times, I can tell you this, guys. A lot of times, this is what will happen. Something will come across in your natural state, and you'll be triggered to a memory. And immediately you'll blame somebody else because of what you experienced in that memory. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So when you're projecting outside of you, the healing never comes in the form or the way that it will help you heal from it. Why? Because you're projecting outside of you. You think that that person owes you something.
Right. Right. Yes.
Okay. That person doesn't owe you a thing. It's God remembering. Where's God? If you're focusing on outside of you, thinking God's outside of you, then you're going to never heal from within.
Well, it's coming up so that we can see that it's still there and it needs to be dealt with because there's not healing there yet. So we need to go within and deal. We need, because God is showing us, He's revealing to us, like I said earlier, God, what are you showing me through these readings or through what I'm seeing or what I'm hearing? God, what are you showing me? Because it's all within you.
That's good.
And so it's coming up. Yes, it's replaying.
Yes.
So that we can deal with it. Because if it's still coming up, it's because you haven't healed yet.
Right.
You may have said you've forgiven and you've forgotten, but obviously you haven't. It's still there. So you have to go within to find out why. Why, God? Why is it still here? Why are you remembering, God? Because God is within, right? So God, why are you remembering? Because it's still here. What do I need to do to heal?
What is the point of remembering? I'm just gonna ask some questions here. I'm sure I'll be sporadic. This is the way my mind works, and this is how I gain revelations and come to an understanding. Maybe it's a good fit for you, maybe it's not, but you can go back and break down this video and take notes and see what the Spirit has for you. But I asked myself, why do I remember? Why do I remember? She said cleaning memories. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's a great description right there. Cleaning memories.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times, check it out. Do we ever show gratitude for things that we have memory of? I'm talking about all things. Are you grateful for remembering things?
A lot of times I am. Even the bad. Even the bad.
That's my point.
Even the bad, because I can see how God used it and turned it around for good.
God remembering. Zerach.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And so ask yourself, when you have these things that occur, you know what I mean? When you begin to look back like Lot's wife, as you begin this, well, as you are on this process of walking out life, working out salvation, changing life, whatever verbiage you want to use, sometimes you're not even going to be thinking that you're looking back because you're so comfortable with things, right? It's something that triggers you to that trauma of looking back, like Lot's wife, right? Ask yourself, are you grateful for that which you're looking back to? Maybe that is the start of understanding healing is trying to knock at your door, right? Wanting you to overcome this. But because you have not yet understood gratitude for that which you've experienced, you want to allow yourself to move on. And so you keep going on that hamster wheel, right? So are you grateful for the things in your past? Are you grateful for some of your or all of your memories, right? Are you grateful for that which you remember? I think that could be listen, that's very important in this process of healing that a lot of us need. I mean, if you're in a position where you're just healed from all things, man, halaba. You know what I mean? That is amazing. And I honor you. And if you're not, I honor you too. Because you're taking ownership of some things, cleaning your memories, like Noel said. And as you continue to clean your memories, there is a process of healing that is taking place to where you are just overcoming. And then guess what? There's a peace that transcends all understanding that you start to rest in.
Amen.
Amen?
Amen.
Okay.
That's good.
Just a short one this morning. I just wanted to challenge some of us and really just I wanted to read the two different explanations there because I think a lot of times the way we've been taught, I know the way I was taught, don't be Lot's wife. Don't be Lot's wife. Mm-hmm. Right? But when we go into the Hebrew meaning of it, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't say this in this reading. I'm not saying it doesn't say it in the Bible. I'm just asking you, what does it say to you?
Right.
What does it say to you? Because if I listen to outside of me, then I'm being taught don't be like Lot's wife. But if I'm listening within, I'm like, get to know Lot's wife. What's Lot's wife telling you?
Right.
What is the feminine side telling me? What's the masculine side telling me? You see what I'm saying, baby? Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to touch base on that this morning. If you didn't have anything, I was like, man, let me go here for a second.
That's good, babe.
So, anything else? Okay. Well, we're going to sit down and get ready for work. So we thank you guys. Hey, please comment or reach out to us in messages or messenger and dialogue with us some more on this. And don't forget, study to show yourself approved, right? Yourself. Go to the mirror and show yourself smiling. I love you guys. Yes. Thank you for your time.
We love y'all. Have a wonderful Wednesday. It's halfway through your week.